will top he was at his peak at some point, but sometimes the peak is not material. Sometimes the peak is starting over again and seeing who was there for you when you really needed them, you know. So with 3 of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and 6 of Swords, I see him planning some kind of, he's trying to rebuild his career. I think in his mind, and this is intuitive based, not fact based, but I think in his mind, he sees himself as, okay, when everything goes well, I will pursue this mystery woman, you know? I think when everything is aligned, because he doesn't want her. Hi everyone, welcome back to No Like Tarot. My name is Hallie, so grateful to have you all. Let's get into this reading. I'm really excited to be doing this. Please make sure you subscribe, you like the video, it does help out a lot. Okay, so let's get into this reading. I'm really excited, like I said, to be doing it. I do have 2 memberships, check those out. One of them, you learn tarot with me. I'm actually introducing some new things, so if you have any ideas, please, I will take them in the comment section. And also, many other great perks. In the other one, I release exclusive videos and so forth and so forth. So I'm doing, last night when I got home, I put up this post and I asked all of you, what would you like me to talk about? And the most asked for was Johnny Depp and his mystery woman. So I'm going to be doing that. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to be using, excuse me before I reveal the cards, I'm going to be using the Earth Woman Tarot. This is really funny. Actually, you know, I was taking it personally. Not necessarily personally, I was just wondering, why do I keep having Johnny Depp dreams? But a lot of you have told me you have them too, so at least I don't feel like a weirdo. But I had a dream like 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago or a week ago? I can't remember. But I had a dream that I was busy talking to friends and I was just living my life, and Johnny Depp was like watching me, which was very interesting. So I don't know what that means, and I know lots of you have dreams about him too. I do also want to say in the comment section, I don't really reply to these, but some of you have suggested that you might be the person that he's interested in. I am not going to say he's not, but also, please, the biggest thing that I've had to learn in life, especially about being a spiritual person, is that you want to see it actualize in reality, you know? If you just focus on dreams, stuff like that, and it doesn't manifest into reality, I highly suggest letting it go, because life is supposed to be manifested in real life, you know? So I know sometimes we develop obsessions with people. You know, I used to have a huge crush on Justin Timberlake when I was a teenager, major crush. And you know, I've dated some celebrities, and there's a difference between having a crush on somebody and actually being with somebody and having an obsession. So I would highly recommend focus on your own life and making your life better. I'm not saying you are not this mystery woman, but I'm also just saying life's too short to focus on things that aren't manifesting in real life. If that makes any sense. Okay, so let's get into the reading. So I'm going to pull, a lot of you asked me to do, well, like 2 or 3 of you asked me to do his energy, her energy, and I decided to do what is the hold up. So let's get into it. Again, please just watch this with a grain of salt. You know, I am accurate. It doesn't mean I'll be accurate, but don't assume you're the woman. You know, we can all have crushes on people, but and I don't want to come across like I'm being mean, because I'm sure it comes from a good place, you know, but it has to manifest in reality, and don't wait on somebody, you know. Yeah. Okie dokie. So with the Judgment, his energy being the Judgment card. So I got the energy that he has been going through, you know, I told you all I encountered him in the street in LA a few years ago. I think at this point it was like 4 years ago. And I saw him alone. You know, I always say this about Sun and Geminis. Sun and Geminis are, I relate to them a lot, because even though I'm a Sun in Aquarius, I can relate to being a loner, and I can relate to being around people, being cheery, fun. All air signs are like that. Libra not so much, but definitely Gemini and Aquarius, where when we're around people, we love people's energy, but we also need our alone time to think, because we love to process what we've done in the day. We like to think. Like, thinking is an activity for us. And people don't get that, and they see us thinking, they're like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm great, I'm thinking. This is my element. Which is literally what we are. Air signs, we're the thinkers and we're the speakers. So I got that energy when I saw him. I saw that he likes his alone time because he likes to think, and I can relate a lot. In fact, I actually had a Libra ex. I'm going to tell you a quick story, personal story. I had a Libra ex, and I'd be thinking when we got home, I'd be just thinking. Actually, two of my Libra exes. And they would ask me, are you going to break up with me? And I'm like, no, I'm just thinking about life, you know. We like to do that. We like to, Sagittarius are like that too, not so much. But we like to philosophize about situations, about life, about just anything. We like to come up with ideas. And right now with the Judgment, I see him thinking a lot about his life. And thinking if he has accomplished enough to feel worthy, you know. And it's very sad to think so linear, because so many people can judge you, you know. And I just went through a situation where I felt like I didn't really fit in. I don't want to get too much into it, but the gist of it is that a lot of people can judge you, and I'm sure he's felt judged. I'm sure a lot of people can judge you. They can say what they want about you, you know, but they don't know you. They don't know your heart. Only you know that. And only you are going to live with the consequences of what life has handed you, you know, or what you've chosen. So I would encourage him to think that way. I know it's tough, especially Geminis. I say this all the time about Geminis. They get stuck between the material world and the spiritual world. They really have to make an effort to not get stuck in that. And because Three of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Six of Swords. So because they are so, what's the word? Because they are so dual, I mean, we all have duality, but they struggle with being liked and disliked, you know, even though they appear to not care what people think. I mean, I think we're all like this to a degree, but I see Gemini struggle with it a lot. I see him processing, like, okay, I went through this, most people like me, but there's still some people who don't like me, you know, but that's life. But the great thing I think about what he went through is that now he knows. You know, I always say, when a fake friend shows themselves, at least now you know. Because you'll never have to question, especially if you are famous. Like I said, dated some celebrity, well, too. And been around lots of celebrities. And if you're constantly told yes, you're not being given the truth. If you're constantly being told no, you're not going to be given the truth. You are going to have, in reality, some people who like you, some people who don't like you. It's just life. So when people say phrases like everybody hates you, all that kind of stuff, they're creating an illusion to make you feel badly about yourself. And it's just not true, you know. So I feel bad for him, and I encourage him to not think so linear about it. You know, being an actor, it can be very ego driven and wanting people to look at you a certain way, especially when you were at your top. He was at his peak at some point, but sometimes the peak is not material. Sometimes the peak is starting over again and seeing who was there for you when you really needed them, you know. So with Three of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, and Six of Swords, I see him planning some kind of he's trying to rebuild his career. I think in his mind, and this is intuitive based, not fact based, but I think in his mind, he sees himself as, okay, when everything goes well, I will pursue this mystery woman, you know? I think when everything, like, when everything is aligned, because he doesn't want her to receive the brunt. You know, being a Sun in Gemini, I think he's very sensitive, which is normal, also being an actor, being a creative. But that sensitivity can sometimes be misdirected. And sometimes we need to harden ourselves in order to be our full selves. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense, because it seems like he's like, okay, when this happens, I'll have that. When this happens, I'll have that. But life doesn't work like that, because life is going on in the process, you know, of when. Because I see him, he's a big dreamer. You know, I think that's why he succeeded and has established himself. However he feels right now, there's a lot of people who love him. Even when I do these readings, I get so many, we love Johnny Depp. In fact, it's oftentimes the most asked for, requested for video. So, yeah. With Ace of Swords, okay, so I pulled up her energy, Ace of Swords. And with Ace of Swords, I see here that there's a guard up. She has a guard up. Also, lots of air energy, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. Let's see. She might have already gotten some clues. And let's see. Maybe she saw him look at a story or something. I'm not saying that that's what happened. Everybody takes me so literally. Ace of Swords. Okay, so I'm seeing here, I get into her energy, and she's very, she comes across light-hearted, but is guarded in relationships. Let's see. Queen of Swords, energy, the Hierophant. I always say this. I feel like she has Taurus in her chart. I've said this before. Taurus, and the Empress is in reverse this time. Wow. And the Justice card at the bottom. So I think she at this time is going through some kind of wanting to fight back against something. And the Star card, Aquarius. I've always said I think she's Sun in Aquarius or Moon in Aquarius. Get that energy. But she seems like she's gone through quite some kind of trivial, something might have happened to her. I see her working in media, something like that. But Queen of Swords, the Hierophant, and the Empress in reverse. Right now, she's not even thinking about being in a relationship. She's like, that's the last thing on my mind. I see very masculine energy in her right now. So when I pulled up what is stopping them from being together, I got Knight of Cups. So like I said in my last reading about this, I think he's tried to drop hints or something, and she might not even be paying any attention. She doesn't seem at all, you know, as an air sign, I can relate a lot. Where we're just not into, most air signs, except for Libras. Libras tend to be very materialistic. I don't want to be hard on you, Libras. Because my rising is a Libra. I found out my rising is a Libra. Like a year ago, I found that out. Okay, so Eight of Swords, Knight of Wands, Ten of Wands in reverse. So it's almost like she is a prisoner of her own mind. And he's tried to kind of speak to her. He's trying to get through to her. Maybe he's asked somebody to speak to her for him and find out some things about her. And she's like, very blocked off. Knight of Wands. Through social media, he's asked somebody to speak out, to be like the middle person, which I don't think is a good idea. This kind of person, he's going to have to speak to himself. I know that he's kind of shy. I got the energy that he's shy last reading I did. I was shocked because I was like, oh my god, he's shy. Especially Ten of Wands in reverse. It seems like she's going through a lot that she won't even realize. Like hints she won't even see. It has to be like direct. She seems very direct. And being an air sign, she seems very, especially with Taurus, air sign with Taurus, she's very to the point. And he's going to have to, if he wants to pursue this. But it seems like it's going to happen in the next 6 months. And you know, time is fluid because we have freedom. We have what's the word? Sorry guys, I just woke up from a nap because I had work earlier today. But we have free will, and with free will, even though I can read energy, I still can tell you what I see. But if it doesn't manifest, you know, sometimes it just won't. It doesn't mean that it's wrong because I pick up energies, intuition. So I see that holding her up, holding both of them up. I don't think it's anything bad. I just think if he pursues her, he has to be direct with her. Because she's very, what's happening, head in the clouds. Yeah, he's going to have to be very direct with her. I think he's also used to dealing with actresses and people in film and stuff like that. And they're used to that, you know. When I dated, one of the celebrities I dated, actually his manager came to me and I was like, what is this? I don't feel comfortable with this. But I understand, I see both sides. I've had an actor that I didn't end up dating. I'm just telling this personal story so you can relate. But I had an actor ask me out, and quite a well-known actor actually, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable because I just didn't want to date him. But I've had a manager of somebody that I dated approach me, and I was like, maybe I'm just hard to please, but I don't know. I think it's better. So I see where she's coming from. I don't even think she realizes it too. I think that love is the last thing on her mind, so she's not really focused on that. But he has to be direct with her. So that's enough, you guys. I love to hear it to say, but please be respectful. You know, I see sometimes, and it's kind of deterred me. So depends how the comments go. If the comments keep some comments are disrespectful, and I don't really like that. So if it keeps being disrespectful in the comments, I'm gonna stop doing Johnny Depp videos, because that's why I stopped doing Keanu Reeves videos, and I'll stop doing Johnny Depp videos too if they continue. So that's what I have for you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.